Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special episode of the BB Podcast, the culmination of over 10 years, 22 films, possibly my entire childhood. Here to talk about Avengers Endgame. I am Josh Schwartz. With us today, we have Mr. John Hoover.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
A recent dad.
Yes.
Recently new dad. Christy Leckie.
Hello. Hello.
And Mr. Phil Hernandez.
What's up, everybody?
So, guys, we have all seen the movie, and everything is on the table for spoilers. So, if for some reason you are listening to this and don't want spoilers, probably don't listen to it.
Get out now. Run.
Run away.
Technically, we're not really supposed to give spoilers for the Russo brothers until tomorrow, but hey, we waited long enough.
It's good to know. I saw that they are actually doing the new. They had a preview in front of the movie for some other. I forgot what the name of the movie was, but anyway.
Pikachu?
No, it was not Pikachu.
Oh, I hope not.
That's what I got.
We can talk about that stupid Sonic movie too sometime, but yeah. So I know I have a few things to talk about in here, and like I guess while talking about trailers right at the beginning, like I tried to avoid spoilers as much as possible on this movie, and one of the trailers actually had like scenes from the movie that I was like trying to like squint away from and not see. But I think I saw like a shot of like the Hulk or something like that, like in the combination unit. But do you guys have any problems with spoilers going into it? You guys managed to be mostly free?
I think mostly free. I watch a lot of the new Rockstar videos that are basically, like how to describe them. They're a YouTube channel that delves deep into a lot of geek culture and trailers and stuff like that. But I knew the Russo brothers were being super careful leading up to this. So anything that was more than a week out, it was hard to really get any definite spoilers from it. And then I kind of tried to avoid everything for the last week because I didn't want to get it spoiled.
Yeah, I'm actually really pleased. I'm pleased with that nothing was spoiled for me, or for the most part. I really had no expectations of like what to expect going in, and I had that kind of turned like on its head a few times during the film. Is there anything you guys want to talk about? Like initially, I know for like broad topics for me, there's a couple scenes that I really want to talk about. There's a couple emotions I want to like discuss, and I'd like to talk about time travel like as well. I was very excited.
I had a feeling.
Yeah. I don't know. This was a special movie for me. More special than I thought it was going to be. I think I didn't have. I'm not sure. I think me personally, I think Infinity War was a better film, but I can forgive like a lot of issues that I have with this film because of like the accomplishments and things that they did and the way they pulled things off. It was really great. But is there anything, John? Do you have something? Why don't you start off, or if anybody else has something, start off talking about anything you'd like for us to discuss.
So yeah, I completely agree that this was a amazing special movie for sure. I've kind of already said it a couple of times out there on social media, but this definitely goes in my top movies of all time for sure, without a doubt. I might rank this higher than Empire Strikes Back, possibly, which was towards the very top of my list of favorite movies. I think it was phenomenal. The amount of sadness I felt in the opening scenes of it with Hawkeye and his family, I couldn't believe how connected I felt to that. And then, granted, I was just starting my family, like my son was born 4 days later, but so maybe that had a little bit of effect on it. And then just throughout the entire thing, it was an amazing movie. Yeah.
I got to be honest, like when I found out it was a 3-hour movie, so I had just come back from a trip. I got home around 2. So speaking of spoilers, I didn't get any spoilers, and I was with a bunch of people who had seen it, and I didn't see it until Friday, so that was pretty good.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, 3-hour movie. And it wasn't even at the good theater where it's easy to get up and go to the bathroom. It wasn't at Alamo Draft House. It was at the normal movie theater, which I'm so over. And I didn't even check to see what time it was until we were 2 hours in. I was like, I wonder how far in we are. And I held it like a champ.
Yeah.
We were in a row with people who didn't understand that you stand up. You have to stand up when somebody has to get by you. You have to. You don't just let me rub my ass against your knees. Like, just stand up. But anyway, yeah. So it was a very special movie.
Yeah, I was actually. So I went like on like a. I think I texted you guys or messaged you. It was like Thursday night or something like that, and the entire theater was empty. So I think like 4 people showed up, like total.
Which is amazing that you were able to find an empty theater for
yeah.
that soon.
It was wonderful. But
I just went and saw it again this morning, and it was almost completely packed. All 5 showings that I checked, I had to sit in the like the 3rd row from the screen, which was fine this time because it was the second time. But you know, even though it was the second time, I still had a pretty strong emotional response. And there's only been one other movie that made me feel as strongly, but it wasn't Infinity Wars. Although that one was great, there's just so many points. I think it was mainly the buildup of the Iron Man character, and then subsequent demise.
I didn't have any. I didn't get choked up in Infinity War. And I was actually talking to one of my students like about like going to see it. I'm like, I'm probably not going to cry. Like, it's probably not going to be like anything. And I get emotional at like other weird moments. There's like points like where just like something happens. I can talk about when Pepper Potts like shows up in like her suit. Like that for me was like emotions like bubbling to the surface, and I'm like, can't like keep speaking.
Yeah, same here.
But I was like in tears, like and like after like, you know, I wasn't crying then, but like there were definitely had tears like in my eyes and down my cheeks, like when like Iron Man, Tony Stark was dying, and during like the Captain America scene and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. It was there are a lot of things to talk about that. Well, we can talk about the sad ending now if you guys want, or you guys want to talk about something else and then talk about that later.
Later, yeah.
Okay.
So let's talk about time travel first. So we can like kind of like start wrapping our heads around this thing, because that's one of the things from this movie is this is an epic, right? This is a massive epic movie. And when I was trying to organize my thoughts on it, I was having a little bit of trouble because it's so stinking big. It's massive. You know, this is an amazing feat, and it's a culmination of all these other films. And holy crap, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I was to start the time travel discussion off, like when Ant-Man brought up like the joke of like, oh, a time heist. I was like, yeah, time heist. And then like they actually started talking about it, and I was like, holy shit, is the rest of the movie actually going to be a time heist? And like that's like, I don't know. Heist movies are always great to watch, but time travel also is, you know, just can be an amazing like ride. And that I was like got really excited when that was becoming the reality of the movie. But yeah, that being said, there's tons of problems with it.
Okay, so I think we need to lay out the fundamental rules of time travel as Marvel says they are.
Yeah.
Right.
By all,
okay.
Go ahead, John, if you got something in mind to say, because I think that they don't even hold true like within
I'm not sure if they do. Yeah. So my understanding of it is that you cannot change your past. What happened to you is set in stone. That happened. It's part of your reality. It is fixed in space. if you go back and something does change, that creates a new pathway through time for an entire different reality that splits off. But it doesn't seem to be how they kind of explain it that way in the movie. But then they also attribute the breaking off of different paths to the reality stones also being removed from time. So you can't go back and kill Hitler. Basically, they say that point blank. Like everybody that died
Right.
because of Thanos' snap, you can't undo it. It happened.
But you
they
totally
didn't die.
could. Right. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Die.
But you could go back and I guess like maybe you could go back and kill Hitler, but it wouldn't affect your past. It would affect this other timeline's past or future then.
Right. It would affect that timeline's future.
So they went back in time basically four different areas and changed other people's futures.
Yes.
Like entire timelines they like possibly wrecked to save theirs.
Right. And that so I guess and maybe that does make sense because they did say when you steal the Infinity Stone. No, it still doesn't make sense. Never mind.
Yeah, the taking the Infinity Stone away, like I think that like affects like some cosmic balance. And when
Yes.
they put the stones back in those timelines, I think that like deviation is separate from like the splitting of realities into multiple like dimensions. I think those are two separate things.
So if you go back in time and you change something, that doesn't necessarily change the future, right? At least according to this. So
Doesn't
Yes.
change your past.
Yeah.
right.
I think is the
Okay,
key.
So Loki got the Tesseract and took off somewhere in a timeline,
Yes.
Right.
and then they went back in that timeline. So what happens to their past where Loki takes the Tesseract?
Yeah, that's a whole nother timeline that Loki goes on wild adventures and doesn't die in Infinity War.
Right. And so I think the way the movie laid out is that I don't know. I mean, if everything that they did could have happened and it wouldn't have affected their future.
Yeah.
As
The
long as
biggest
step back, except
biggest
for
issue.
with Loki.
The biggest
Right.
issue really is that past Thor comes to the future before he snapped everybody away in Infinity War. So that's before he's even got the stones. Huh?
You said past Thor.
Oh, sorry.
Past Thanos.
Other T name.
And a quick shout out, by the way, just not to interrupt you, Josh, to everybody that is currently watching us on Facebook. Nice to have you guys here.
So past Thanos comes to the future and gets killed before he snaps everybody in their past. So
Yes.
so that still happened in their past, but it was a different Thanos.
Right. Yeah. So it's got to be that it's a different reality that you now exist in.
Yeah, the time travel is like one of the bigger issues in the. Well, there's some other like physics breaking things they do, but that's one of the bigger issues of like I'm just willing to give them like a pass because
Yeah, and I like the way
makes
they
sense,
tried
like-
to handle it, where they didn't do the Back to the Future thing, where your actions in the past actually change your future. They also didn't do the thing where like you start to forget your past because it changed,
yeah,
right?
It's already too
Which
complicated.
would be like the Flash paradox is a good example of that, where things changing in the past like actually alter reality for everyone except for Flash, who remembers it because of the Speed Force or whatever. Right, it has actual effect on the main reality.
Yeah, and people of the other major like time travel thing that I've seen people talk about is Captain America going into the past and then living out like his lifetime with Sir Carter, Peggy Carter,
Peggy Carter, yeah.
with living his life, like I'm assuming in secret, maybe in that, or if it was a different timeline or different reality, he could have had, jolly adventures.
Which the biggest issue ever with that is it's Captain America at a time and choosing to put his own happiness above the welfare of others, which doesn't go with the character at all.
Yeah.
If there's already a Captain America in the world, so
Right.
Well, he was, in that timeline, he would have been frozen still, though. But Captain America, they did a good job of showing Captain America's growth as a character. When Captain v Captain, when like they fight and he's like, I can do this all day, and he's like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, we just had a comment from Lane that he also was wondering about Loki and the Tesseract and all that. Now, one thing that I know that I saw that they're developing, and this was actually I'm really excited about this because I liked this comic when I was a kid, is they're releasing a What If series on the Disney Channel. The What If comics were a look at what if something significant in the Marvel universe changed just a little bit. And the one that I always think of is they did a what if the Venom symbiote, instead of ending up with Eddie Brock, ended up with like going through basically the Marvel main characters instead. So Peter Parker ends up going to Reed Richards in one of the What If comics to get rid of the symbiote. And it gets away from him, and I think it gets to somebody and like works its way through multiple people and eventually ends up on the Hulk and taking over the Hulk's body. Like that's an example of a what if comic, right? Something slightly changed. I think those are going to be a lot of what we just saw happen in this movie. You know, what if Loki spun off somewhere? Okay, you see a different reality there.
Yeah, I could see the other. They have the option at least for future movies to like have alternate dimensions and stuff like that. But I really hope they don't go that way, because with the comic books, the last year's like comic book Infinity like War, Secret Wars, like 2 years ago or last year whenever it ended, they like tried to consolidate all the universes because they had like too many different versions of everybody, and then they started doing overlaps, and it was like we just need to kind of wipe the slate clean. So they kind of merged like everything back into one universe in the comic books. But I'm sure they'll start spreading out again at some point. But
I think that's been done a few times on the DC side, right? Because what's the main universe in DC? 616 or 161 or Prime. That's right. Earth Prime is the main one on the DC
Marvel does
side.
all the numbers and stuff, I think. But
yeah, and they've done a couple of them where I think like they've slammed together all the realities because they just have too many Superman flying out there now. They need to bring it back down a little bit, guys. Phil, you've been quiet.
I had this whole discussion about time travel because it really only looks at things from a human macro perspective. So you're talking about decisions that humans make, but when all of these atoms, all atoms have supposedly a sister that's spinning in the opposite direction. So every molecule, every atom that exists has multiple options, multiple spins, multiple directions. So really, every time that you split a timeline, you're having billions of atoms changing direction, going to do something different. So then you're affecting all of these molecules. So if one little thing changes, you drop a pin.
Butterfly effect, right?
Yeah. So now you have billions of other timelines that are affected by this, not just 14,600,000 something, but you have billions of different timelines. And so how do you go back and fix each and every one? How do you correct every single atom out there? And then there's animals. What if an animal makes a different decision in this timeline than the old one? A plant grows slightly to the left.
No, you can apply that to our own existence here, Phil.
True. Yeah. So then humans, you make another decision and you create a completely different timeline. So like when they go back and take the time stone, or Banner does, you have to go back to that exact same point and put it back.
Right.
But you
Because
still
that was like a cosmic thing, right? The reality starts, based on what the Ancient One said, the reality would start to warp. I think the way they could fix all this, and I think it would be smart of them to do, is if they say that, hey, Tony got his math wrong or something like that. They didn't really understand how time travel works. And they find out that the universe will try to correct itself. It'll try to maintain what happened as it happened, right? So, yeah, Thanos died, right? Future Thanos came forward and died, but somebody else comes in his place and still snaps. And that still happens. You end up with, like, the same type of reality event because time wants to be as it was and wants to shift back to the normal, something like that.
which falls in line with Tony's comment that when you mess with time, time messes back, right?
Right, yeah.
Alluding to fate.
Right. So anyways, that's the time travel thing.
I didn't understand any of that.
We can do some other time. Like
Let's talk about emotions.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Let's get into the emotion stuff.
That I understand.
So, Christy, I'd love to hear your take on the girl power moment of near the end.
I mean, I'm here for it. I loved it.
Yeah.
Also, it was super obvious. I mean, there was not even.
It was great they did it.
Yeah. When he's kind of trying to run the football, and the people that are clearing the way were all female superheroes. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love that. I thought that scene was awesome. That was fantastic, I thought.
Yeah. Too bad Carol needs nobody and is like just an entire force to herself.
And it points to the thing that I didn't realize really probably before I saw Captain Marvel, which is how many female superheroes there are. I mean, it's not like they made them up for this movie.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty.
Been really a main character. But yeah, something else I learned a little bit about. I had some issues with. I kind of wanted Carol's Captain Marvel's character to be a little bit more in this movie, just because like how the importance I kind of placed her at the end of Infinity War, just revealing it, and her other stuff. But just movie stuff wise, they filmed Endgame before Captain Marvel was done,
right?
Like finishing, and so like any changes or character development wasn't really like applied, and it definitely was not Captain Marvel movie. Like it was all about the people that had been in all of these movies and all in 10 decades of work and everything. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually pretty happy with. I just had some for some reason I just had an expectation she was going to have a bigger role to play in the movie.
I did too, but I think you're right. I think there was enough of her, and it wasn't so much character development as just ass kicking. Like there's no learning moment for her about teamwork. Like it was just, her being a badass.
Yeah. And Pepper Potts.
I thought she would have more.
I was so excited. I talked about the Pepper Potts suit reveal. I guess in the comic books, her suit is called Rescue.
Yeah.
But yeah, when the early part when Tony was like, she never, wears the things I buy for her or whatever, when he's talking with his daughter, she has the suit on. She has the mask on and out. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh man, that's going to be, I hope that's like a moment in the movie. And she showed up and looks like a complete badass. I love like her character design for the suit and like the I don't know, like the little star like shape pattern like on like her back for heat dissipation or energy projection or something. But just looked badass, and that was a great moment. Like for me, I was like super excited about that.
When I first saw her mask with Morgan wearing it, I thought it was just a costume or something. I didn't realize that it was actually going to be her helmet.
There were several like father-daughter moments in this movie.
Yeah.
The beginning, when Hawkeye is teaching his daughter how to shoot, So first of all, I didn't realize it was the beginning of the movie. I was like, is this another preview? And then people started disappearing. It was like, oh. And I leaned over to Josiah and I was like, oh, the movie started. And he was like, yeah. But yeah, there were a handful of father-daughter moments in this movie, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, him,
Always
Ant-Man and his daughter.
Yeah.
I definitely teared up at the Hawkeye scene. I knew it was coming too. Like I knew what was going to happen. Like he's there with his whole family. Like this is going to be terrible, and it was terrible, without a doubt.
Yeah,
I missed it my first time around. I didn't see any part of that, but I caught it the second time.
Yeah.
The
I love you.
something that
3000.
didn't really.
By the way,
Yeah.
I mean,
Huh?
I love you
I love you
3000.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fantastic moment. And then Tony coming out and talking to Pepper. She loves you about 600, but she loves me 3,000. Fantastic moment. Oh my gosh.
They didn't. I expected them to kind of to talk about like this is very hero focused. It didn't really show much about society, like how they were dealing with the loss of half the population and everything. I don't know. Probably the movie didn't need to be any longer than it was.
Well, I mean, I think
want
they
it longer.
tried. I mean, they had a support group, and they showed people
Yeah.
in the monuments, and
Yeah, that's true.
how empty everything was.
Yeah. Can you imagine being like somebody that had like great loss and like moving on with your life, and then all of a sudden that person gets unsnapped and you have all these other people back that you like,
Right.
all these
So
other
they didn't
relationships
talk
that you
about
have to
that at
deal with.
all.
And yeah, that's
Yeah.
going to be there'll be a lot of problems in
Right?
the real world.
Especially if
So
you've been
everyone that was there has moved on for 5 years. And even if they're sad, they've moved on for 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And they come back 5 years. Well, I mean, everybody else is aged 5 years and they're
Yeah.
like,
Peter
what happens to
Parker-
all the babies that come back?
Well,
Like,
sure,
just
they
like,
showed Peter Parker in school, right?
yeah.
That
Mhm.
means like any of his classmates that weren't snapped away are now 5 years older than Peter Parker was.
But he sees his buddy,
Yeah.
who's the
Who
same age.
conveniently
Maybe his
all of
buddy
his fri-
disappeared too.
Yes.
I guess.
All of his friends were snapped.
Every single friend.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The therapists will not go hungry.
No, yeah. You'll be okay, Christy, in this future. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Besides like all of like, think of like airplanes, cars, all that stuff that lost like the drivers, like all like, and just utter chaos. Like when that happened.
Yeah.
But also, do you guys know when the planet had half as many people as it does now?
I do know that because I saw this the stat for it. Somebody was talking
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago at all.
1960.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like Thanos like really should have knocked down like, maybe to like 1/10 of like populations or something.
Yeah.
Half the populations. We'll be right back. Like, it's not a problem.
Yeah, it's not enough. Yeah,
I never would have guessed that. I would have been like 1850.
No. Yeah. We can double ourselves really quick.
Man, we're like little fucking rabbits.
Yeah.
yeah. It's on the emotional side. So, Josh, you saw it in a theater where the theater was mostly empty, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Phil, how about your theater?
Both were full, but there were
Okay.
very different responses each time.
Okay. And Christy, how about yours?
Packed. And
Packed.
by
Okay.
the way, the movie I think we were alluding to at the beginning, was it Red Phoenix? Anyway, we were talking earlier, but it was packed.
Phoenix.
Sorry, John.
The X-Men movie, you mean?
Dark
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Dark Phoenix.
Dark Phoenix. Sorry.
Oh,
yeah,
that's coming out?
let's not get into that and my feelings
yeah.
on that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But what were you saying about the theaters?
So I know for me that the emotion in the theater was crazy. So I went to the 6 p.m. on Thursday, super high-end theater, the AMC, Dolby, like crazy high-quality ones that are out there that you can go to. And the theater was going crazy the entire time, like highs, lows, everything else. The emotion in the theater were just unbelievable. The highest point, I think, was when everybody showed up on the battlefield. When Captain America's standing there by himself, and then the portals start opening behind him, and you hear Falcon say, "Cap, on your left," and he comes through a portal, and then everybody else, and the theater went insane.
Yeah, same here.
Everyone was cheering. It was crazy. It's the reason that theater experiences are cool. Like my home theater here, my TV and my surround sound and everything is pretty decent, you know? It's probably better than like a crappy theater experience, but I'll never get that in my house. Like I'll never have that experience like I did being in that theater at 6 p.m. on Thursday with everybody else that couldn't wait to see this movie. That was fantastic.
Yeah, when Captain America picked up the hammer.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god! Yes.
Yeah, that's probably one of my like favorite moments of the movie. I was
without a doubt.
Yeah, it's on.
Yep.
Yeah. I have no idea how my wife reacted because I could not pay attention to anything else.
Yeah, that was awesome. Makes me want to go see it again right now just thinking about it.
The whole Thor character was pretty amazing, honestly.
That was good comic relief, yeah.
It's good comic relief, but also it's true. Like it reminds me of a lot of the veterans I deal with. It reminds they veiled it in comedy, but that's real stuff.
I've heard people complain about even being a little bit too, I don't know, over the top, and I was like, no, I can definitely like relate to like a lot of like what he'd be going through. That seems pretty okay. That seems spot on for a lot of things.
Yeah, and they played it like the Big Lebowski, and things are easier to access when they're funny, right? We can get closer to difficult topics when they're wrapped in humor, and that's what that was. That was some serious stuff he was dealing with. And so I thought that was I liked that part of it. I thought it was hilarious.
He went through. I mean, he. Like besides like having like going directly from like his entire realm and most of his people dying to getting captured to having half of his surviving people be snapped to fighting and losing and blaming himself for like the first loss, the first snap and the first fight against Thanos. Somebody that doesn't have a history of losing. I'm sure that was pretty rough like on him.
Think about all the effort that he put in to restarting the heart of a neutron star by hand. And then going through all that war just to lose everything. I mean, what does that do to you?
Well, and to be told that you're a god, like there's nothing you can't do. You're a badass in the most, the most badass. And to fail, to experience failure and then lose everyone and everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of great character arcs and a lot of ends to a lot of great character development that have gone on through the series. That's something that I think they've done like a really great job of overall in the whole Marvel universe is being able to cram in like meaningful character interaction and character development inside these, silly superhero like movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just want to see the Korg and Meep series where Thor's the guy on the couch, right? And you have those two as like the characters you're actually following. And Thor just happens to be the guy that lives on their couch back at their house.
Yeah, the Odd Couple series with movie needs more Korg. Korg needs to have his own like movie or something, but
yeah, he needs a series on Disney. I will watch that.
Yeah, when the guy's being mean to him while he's playing video games and Thor has to like shut it down.
Yeah. So many good moments in this movie. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little disappointed when the tipping point for getting Thor to go with them on the spaceship was that there was beer on the spaceship. Yeah. And they
I like the moment when he was sleeping though. That was pretty great. They're like, is he asleep?
And there was I knew it when Captain picks up the hammer.
Yeah.
And you hear Thor yelling, that. So how about anything that you didn't like about the movie? Do you want to talk about that a little bit? I have like one thing that kind of sort of bothers me, and I think it's because something got cut out from the movie, I think.
All right. Yeah, let's hear it.
So the one thing that bothered me a little bit was the scene where Iron Man and Nebula are in space and Captain Marvel shows up. out of nowhere for no reason whatsoever. Just manages to find him in the middle of nowhere and saves him.
Yep.
I think what was and there's a few moments along that like chain of events right there from the time she finds them to the time they decide to go kill Thanos, where it feels like there's pieces that are missing along that, and I think that things got cut a little bit there to shorten the movie down to 3 hours instead of like 3 hours and 5 or 15 minutes or whatever. I think there probably was a scene where Rocket gave Captain Marvel a tracker to find the ship because that fixes that problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's your track. Here's where they are. Go find them.
I have a technical issue with that scene. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's light years away, like looking down, like on a galaxy, presumably ours.
Okay.
And then Captain Marvel just like pushes the ship like faster than light back to Earth, like before he dies. Like he probably only has like, you know, maybe a few hours of life left in him, and like she gets to push it all the way to Earth.
Yeah. And that, I mean, that's one of the things they haven't explained with her, right? Like she has to have access to those portals somehow that they travel through, because otherwise, how is she going from planet to planet doing what she's doing? Like they're not in the same.
Yeah. I forget. That's something I just forgive the movie on. There's like issues with like, besides the time travel, like technical details, there's issues in like the awesome Thanos fight where when Captain America's fighting him, like Thor is just like off camera, like, you know, waiting for his turn or something
For a long time. Yeah. That is a long time that Captain America's by himself.
It's fine. Whatever. Like I'm eating my popcorn. It's great. Like I'm happy. Like I forgive it. Like it doesn't matter. But
It reminds me that Thanos is the only one with a teleporter, right? Like you see him materialize.
Yeah.
At one point when he's walking in to talk to Gamora and Nebula. I think that happened in one of the previous movies, but nobody else has that technology so far as I recall.
Well, you got
scene, yeah.
Yeah, you have, I guess not teleportation. You have Heimdall from Asgard that can just open the Rainbow Bridge and, get
and
mass.
Thor now also as well can do it.
Yes.
The Stormbreaker.
Yeah, and Doctor Strange can make portals. So, but I guess teleportation in a technical manner, I'm pretty sure you're right.
Yeah.
But
that looked a little different when Thanos does it versus the tech that they used in Infinity War to get them. Like they didn't levitate up and levitate down like they did in Infinity War when the bad guys were coming and going. Looked a little different.
Can't remember.
Oh, and the other thing that, like, I thought for sure Ant-Man died in this movie.
Oh yeah,
when they do the strike from orbit.
Oh yeah,
from Thanos' ship. I was amazed that we saw Ant-Man show up after that. I thought for sure that was the end of that character.
I thought that was a bit weak. That like nobody got hurt. Like the entire building got destroyed. And
Rocket has a little bit of trouble breathing for a minute or two.
Like, all right, I guess that really sucked, guys. Everybody okay? Good, let's fight.
Yeah. I was really, really surprised. I mean, I get they don't want to kill the character because they're making a lot of money off of him, but
yeah, you could have had like injuries though. You could have had somebody, trying to think of who all was there that really could have been
like Giant Man just collapsed after he gets everybody out of there or something like that,
Yeah.
Exhaustion, a broken leg.
Yeah.
So there were a few deaths and but no real injuries besides anybody who wore the glove, right? The gauntlet.
Nebula, they seemed to injure, but that was one of the things that weren't explained, like why that character gave up so easily. Wasn't ever really explained. Like when they have the good Nebula, let's call her, captured, she's not really that injured at that point. And injury has never stopped her before from murdering masses of people. So why did she give in so easily to the bad Nebula and Gamora? They didn't really explain that at all.
Yeah, it seemed like ever since she stopped or froze from returning to the future, that she just sort of stopped pushing herself. You know,
Mhm.
I mean, like especially like right then when Thanos, right before Thanos captured her, she froze. I can understand the cerebral pain from sharing the network.
Right.
She recovered enough to go to the ship. So why didn't she just send the message and then hit the thing and go back? You know, I mean, there's nothing that she could have done to help. What's their names? Black Widow and Hawkeye,
Mhm.
Right.
and they should have been able to. I guess the plan was to return there with the ship, but they could have just beamed back through time on their own, and
Yeah.
she wouldn't have to worry about any of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you guys think happen? What do you guys think happens when Captain America comes back and returns the Soul Stone?
I think they're still dead, but I don't. So
I think it's
yeah,
an awkward
it doesn't
conversation
make a
between
lot of
him and Red Skull.
Yeah. So yeah. So there's that, right? Does he? Yeah. I'd
That's
like
like
to see that scene. Is that a bonus scene that we can get? Is that an option?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Can we get that as an after credit scene at some future movie?
Yeah, I was like, what? He's a weird choice to have him be the, I don't know what you call him, protector or
The Guardian.
guardian. Yeah,
Right. That he was chosen by the Tesseract to protect the Soul Stone spot. Like, I think it's a cool callback that they have him there.
Yeah, it would have
Everybody
been
kind of
really
wondered
great
what
if he
happened
had.
to him.
Yeah, it would have been great if he had the Soul Stone like in like Captain America, like the first Avenger, that movie, and so he was like bound to it and somehow because he had like interacted with it or something. But
Yeah, it seems like an odd choice to have him instead of like any of the plethora of other characters they could have chosen that would have been fan service. You know, there's
yeah,
an endless list of characters they could have had from the Marvel Universe in that role.
yeah, absolutely.
So,
But anyway, he's great.
John's got to go, y'all. Do we want to keep talking?
yeah, I have to call it good. It's a new baby and all that. I have to go be a dad. So,
Go
Fatherly
take care of
duties.
that baby.
You want to hit on the ending real quick? You have any thoughts about the way it ended? Tony dying, any of that?
I mean, I thought that was a great emotional ending for him dying, like him sacrificing himself for presumably his daughter and Pepper and everyone else. Especially given how the original Avenger movie, the comment from Cap was, "You're not the man to lay down the grenade or lay down the wire, so others can step over," or whatever the exact phrasing was that Captain tells him originally.
Yeah,
To
that's
make the sacrifice play.
that's a scene where a little kid in the audience wouldn't stop crying.
Oh. Yeah.
I
And
know that. I thought it was for Tony and Pepper, like when he revealed that he had figured out like time travel, like you could see that like she didn't really fight him, but he's a very compulsive, like focused character, and he's not the type of person that would just let like that happen. It would eat at him forever, and she know that like there's no fighting him, but she needs to just let him go on and and do this. And she kind of, I think that she knew that he was going to be lost at some point doing one of these things. And but yeah, it was a fitting end.
I expected her to be like, "No, Tony, we have a daughter. You can't." Like, I expected that. And it was really refreshing that she just was like, "That's not who you are."
Yeah, they showed character growth on her part too,
Not who
instead
you
of keeping her kind of that one-dimensional character she's been.
Yeah,
a lot of times.
And I kept waiting for there to be like Tony had downloaded his consciousness into something. Like there's gonna be a hologram Tony, which there kind of was, but not really. Just that last message. But yeah.
I was really surprised they snapped away Shuri and didn't have her and Tony together. I thought for sure that we were going to see a building scene of them together making, the time travel device or some new armor for him or upgrading something or whatever. I was really surprised when she was one of the people that they had snapped away. And also, what happened to Wakanda during all this when the king and the king's daughter have been gone along with like a lot of the population?
Oh, didn't the one the one guy from the warrior sect, like they were like the gorilla,
M'Baku.
like they didn't he I thought, maybe I'm just remembering wrong, didn't he like step up and like took leadership?
Oh, maybe.
But I don't remember. I'd have to watch the other smaller parts of scenes of the movies or something like that, see if it was mentioned or anything. But yeah, that goes back to the whole thing. All these people are back, and like, what now?
So, all right, guys. Well, I have to jet, but it's been awesome. So, great movie. I'm going to see it again for sure. I think we'll have to talk about it some more going forward. There's so much to unpack.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We can do that along with this next episode of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, tonight, right? All of what? Hour and a half from now?
Hour and a half.
Heck yeah! Kill Cersei, please. Make her very dead.
Game of Thrones spoilers, guys.
Yeah.
Cersei's not
All
dead
right, guys.
yet.
All right. See you guys.
Bye, John.
We'll be back together soon.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Later, Facebook world and everyone that joined us out there. Appreciate you listening.
Guys. Are we done?
We're done. Let's bye Facebook